Why are so many young men shifting towards the right wing? Why are so many people in general across Western societies shifting towards more right-wing ideas? Well, let's ask the expert on this matter, Hasan Piker. Surely he knows the reason why.
I'm not gonna lie. I also think men are getting dumber, and it's genuinely terrifying. Like, young men are so predisposed to like right wing radicalization. We're getting dumber, bro. We are.
So there we have it. It's as simple as that. They're all just stupid idiots. Young men are stupid idiots and they're just being tricked in some way. See, I hate this a lot. I think this is a very common thing in the UK. You know, you have the middle class and upper middle class calling the working class, and the working class these days in the UK are very much shifting right, and they just call them idiots. They say they're stupid. It's very much a class divide, right? But the thing is, a lot of this boils down to something like good times and hard times, right? And I'm going to use Yukio Mishima in 1960s Japan as an example, right? See, a lot of what Mishima promoted and romanticized were the same ideals that a lot of young men today are attracted to. The idea of tradition, strength, order, identity, maybe some kind of national pride or even like pride in yourself, which seems to be lost these days, and ultimately like a purpose in life, right? And this nostalgic view of the past. See, the thing is, a lot of young men today, they see what their parents had, they see what their grandparents had, and these things seem unattainable today, right? The idea of just having a family, owning a home, these things seem so like impossible these days, and they want change. Ultimately, these people want change. Now, Yoshio Mishima also wanted change. Yukio Mishima wanted change. But the thing is, he lived in 1960s Japan, and 1960s Japan was experiencing good times. Yes, they had money, jobs, low crime rate, an optimistic view of the future. Things never looked so good, and things were on this momentum, and things were getting better, and it proved to be right. You know, 1980s Japan, one of the best places to live in the world at the time. People were happy with the direction things were going, and people were happy with the status quo. They didn't want change in any way. So a lot of what Yukio Mishima wanted to promote and wanted to change, people rejected his ideas, right? Ultimately, Yukio Mishima actually attempted a coup on the government. He tried to take down the government with like 5 people or whatever, and didn't gain much traction, or, you know, not many people followed him, should we say. And it was ultimately, it failed, and he ended his own life. But it was kind of more of an artistic statement than an actual real coup. But still, very cool thing to do, yes. But again, because of the good times, he didn't gain traction. Now let's compare this to someone that did gain a lot of traction. You might have heard of him, the Big H Dog. Yes, the Big H Dog in 1930s Germany. He did gain traction. Why was this? Well, if you think of 1930s Germany, the Weimar Republic, they were definitely experiencing hard times. Hard times doesn't quite cover how hard it was in the Weimar Republic. People were poor, unemployed, high crime rates, a sense of hopelessness. They felt like they were stripped of their pride, and and people wanted change, right? Ultimately, in 1930s Germany, people wanted change, and Hitler, the Big H Dog, he offered that change to people, and people gravitated towards him because of the hard times. Now, if we draw this back to today, a more relevant, more up-to-date version, you can look at Jean Le Pen, right? Jean Le Pen, France, again, he followed the same ideals, a nostalgic view of France's past, right? And he wanted to bring back the same kind of ideals, a right-wing nationalist of some kind. But the thing is, in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, when he was promoting these ideas, France didn't care. They were experiencing good times. They had money, jobs, low crime rate, optimism. Things were getting better. People didn't want change. So ultimately, he was rejected, and a lot of people hated him in France. Fair enough. Now, compare that to today, right? His own daughter, Marie Le Pen, she is gaining traction. People are following her. People are voting for her, right? Why is this? Well, a lot of young men, especially in France, are experiencing hard times. People are poorer than their parents. People are unemployed, higher crime rates. There's a sense of hopelessness for many young men in France. And ultimately, a lot of them want change. And Marine Le Pen, she is offering that change and gaining traction. See, a lot of people, when they see these issues of that, they see that they're losing tradition, strength, order, identity, a purpose in life. When they feel like they're losing this, they tend to, there's a blame going towards the left in general, or basically this neolibertarian order that we've been living under for 30, 40 years. And they are the targets, and that's the change they want. They want to get rid of that. But the thing is, I would say that a lot of the issues that people are facing today is mostly down to just the industrial society as a whole and how things have changed technologically wise, you know? And technology is a big factor, I believe, in what is actually causing the issues of today. Technology, capitalism, you know, this capitalistic movement that we're experiencing. That people call it late stage capitalism. I believe is like post capitalism, because there's no competition within these big businesses. They run things, right? There is no competition. There is no free market. They own the market. Anyway, I've done other videos on that, but I'll probably do another video on this as well. But basically, the thing is, modern society, industrial society, it offers us comfort, right? It promises us comfort and an easy life. But instead, what many, especially young men, are finding themselves lonely, they're finding themselves dependent, and ultimately, again, they find their life to be meaningless. See, you can use an extreme example a guy in his goon cave, right? A young man in his goon cave. He's happy there, gooning along, playing video games 8 hours a day, and this might seem like, oh, this is a happy life, you know, I'm just gooning and playing video games, what else do I need? But ultimately this results in that kind of a meaningless existence, which is not great. So yes, technology is a big factor in all of this. A lot of it boils down to the modern society that we're living in, phones, technology. And one of the people that warned us about this was Uncle Ted. Yes, old Ted Kaczynski. The way he went about warning people was a bit funny, you know, blowing people up. But yes, he warned us about these issues, the industrial society and the future, the industrial revolution and its consequences and so forth. He warned us about this. But the thing is, when Ted warned us about these issues, the US was experiencing good times. The world in general was benefiting from this new flourishing technology. We were experiencing good times, right? But the moment this technology is kind of creating hard times. So although Ted gained a certain amount of following in his time, ultimately he was rejected and seen as a crazy person. But if you move him to today, a lot of his ideas don't seem so crazy anymore, right? Because we are experiencing hard times. Now, of course, there's a lot more to it than this, but this, I believe, good times and hard times is a big factor in all this. Like, if your government was doing well and doing and helping the people wouldn't want change. But the fact that we're seeing our government selling us out to big companies and trying to medicate us to have a better life in some ways, just to tell us to shut up, you know. That's another thing Ted Kaczynski warned about, you know. He said, if you're taking a medication to try and fit into society, you know, it's telling you that you're the problem. But actually, is it the society itself? Is it the world around you that's the problem? Just take your funny pills and stay happy, right? Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. But what I'm saying is, it's not just down to young men being stupid. There's a lot more to it, right? There's a lot more to it. See, if our governments were doing well, we would be experiencing good times and we wouldn't care as much, right? But we're experiencing hard times and people want change. So yes, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Hasan Piker's right. Maybe they're all just idiots, and we should just ignore these working class people that are changing and turning right wing and having nostalgic views of the future and can't buy a home and all this. Maybe they don't. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think the real reason is?